Yeah, I hope y'all had a good week last week. As we get ready to head into this week, market's been kind of crazy, but you know, hey, the market's designed to go up, and we've been getting a pretty decent market over the past few weeks with Tesla, with Meta. Um, Everybody's saying no sound. Can y'all hear me now? All right, cool. Say got it. All right, everybody's saying the sound issue is fixed. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna start the watch list off with looking at SPY and the Qs. Both of those kind of been trading a little crazy lately, but overall it's been continue to push up higher and higher. So we briefly Friday got a push above Thursday's highs, and it didn't last too strong. So shortly after, we seen it retrace back down and come back down around the support level here. So going into this upcoming week, I'm definitely trying to see if this 607 range is gonna hold. If so, that should continue to push us up to the upside. And I did talk about last week that this 618, 619 price range level would be my next level going long. So we're definitely gonna have to see this level between 606 and 608 hold up in order for us to continue, and the trend going from there, it'll probably be something along the lines of that as far as the trajectory goes. So if we start pulling back to the downside, what I'll be watching for is these gap downs. Well, gap ups, but they're unfilled at the moment right now. So as you can see right now, these white boxes that I have marked out, those are higher highs. Well, the daily highs and daily lows, going all the way back from last Monday. This is where we were, and then as you can see, we traded sideways, which if you are holding long dated calls, you definitely wanted to get in around the 602 range, because if you got in around here, we did face a little bit of choppiness, theta decay going into this move up. So this is kind of what you want to watch for up here too. The same way it bounced off of these low levels before it finally took off, this would be what you want to watch for going into this week. You would be want to watch let's see, that's Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. So the one thing that I do notice is that we're constantly making higher lows. So we're kind of due for a pullback. But as you can see, this gap down here around this 595, 599 area, it never got filled. So we just kind of want to watch and see if that's going to happen like that, because it looks like it was filled halfway before the market took back off to the upside. So that's kind of what we'll want to watch going into this next week. Like I said, I got 606 levels marked. I got the 604, and then down here, which would be a complete gap fill down here, is 604.14. That'll be where I would expect buyers to step in at over here, and then kind of consolidate between the 606 and maybe that 607 level. If we fall within this channel from here to here, then that's where the consolidation is probably going to be around. And just looking from this 30-minute chart, if we do happen to come down and fill this, I'll automatically be looking for a possible head and shoulders to fill this gap down here. Because here you'll have a shoulder, you'll have your head right there, and then you will have your next shoulder lining up somewhere over here, and then possibly another flush down to fill here. So if I didn't have these gaps right here, normally what I would look for, you can see the from the head down to the shoulder, that'll give you your next move down from the shoulder to the bottom where it should line up to. So I hope y'all just seen what I did right there. I lined up the top of the head to the bottom of the shoulder. And then once I do that, I'm gonna take that line and bring it down from the top of the shoulder, and that's gonna tell me where the bottom should line up, and that'll be around here. And that's if we start to pull back. That'll be the next pattern that I would watch for going into it. Now, will that play out? We don't know, but that'll just be thinking maybe a week ahead to know, all right, if we do drop down here, am I going to be expecting a sideways consolidation? So be careful on going long and be careful of going short, which if I want to go short, I'm going to want to take up here, somewhere up here, to make, you know, the next side of the shoulder on the way back down. But it can always get bought up here, consolidate within this range, and then make a move back to the upside, back up into here. So these would be the two scenarios that I'll be watching out for. If the market falls in different directions. For one, we can see a continuation to the upside. Two, we can fall back down into the 604 to 602 levels and watch the decision be made from there. And whichever way we decide to take, I would take the breakout. I'll watch for daily highs and lows going into Monday and Tuesday. And then whichever direction, if we head up here, that's the continuation. We head down here, be careful, because it could be some news that they'll be awaiting, and that'll determine which direction it'll head once it gets into this range, whether it's going to be to the upside or to the downside. So the only thing that pushes me toward the downside if we get down here is the fact that this gap is unfilled, and I would look for them to want to fill that before continuing to push back to the upside for the SPY, which that'll lead a flush down here, lead us into another channel between 597 and then the 602 range. So I definitely watch for that on SPYs. Let's move along to the Qs. All right, so as far as the Qs go, I will be watching for highs of about 530, 50, 530, 571. That'd be for highs if technology continues to push. Now, let's see. If I was to go and mark the daily highs, which I haven't, on QQQ, this is what I'll be doing right here. Going on the daily, finding it, and I'll be lining it out to the left to catch future movements inside of there. So then I go back to my 30-minute chart. And I'll be watching for the breakout of Friday's highs. Okay, so This breakout above this 526 level, 526, 69, 65, somewhere in there. Once we break out here, I'll be looking for the move up to this 530 range. And if we do start breaking out above here, then we can see consolidation back between anywhere in here before the move goes up, or we can see a straight vertical move to the 530 level. Right now I got the support level right here at 524. That's probably one of the old weekly highs that I have. But once this move breaks out, we'll see the 530, and that's probably going to be the same. If I go back and look at the SPY, that'll probably be a retest of SPY's highs around 609 and maybe 610, if we want to correlate that with how the SPY is moving. So if we see that breakout, I'm going to automatically shift my focus to that, and that'll be my next level of resistance before possibly retracing and retesting some of these levels. But if we open lower in the morning, the head and shoulder sequel is kind of the same. It's just on a different chart. So if I show y'all this, the bigger picture, you can still see how they can line up. We can open flat in the morning at this 526 level. You'll see the prices roll over into, that'll probably be a mini head and shoulders. So you can see it roll over here, and then you can see it fall and fill this gap here between this is Monday and Tuesday's highs, which was retesting, and then it gapped up and it left this entire gap here open between 519 and 517. So with that being said, that gap's going to have to be eventually filled, and Qs are typically more aggressive with that gap fills. If we go back and look back here, when it gapped up, it filled a little bit, and then it drug itself down to support before bouncing back up. It gapped up, did the same thing. It filled, and then it aggressively sold off before moving back up, and then those buyers drove the price up even more, even higher to this level, gapped up to this level. So just going off of history, if we do see the Qs start to fill themselves to the downside, we'll see this gap fill between 519 and 517. I would look for the dramatic sell-off like we have seen in the past over here too, and that would drive us between the 515 and the 513 levels. So that'll be my next range of consolidation here. If we see the move down somewhere over here before having to move back up, and then retesting highs up here around 536. So I definitely think these levels are coming pretty soon. We seen Tesla, which was a very good play that we caught way before the breakout. This was the first move that we caught because we seen it break those highs of 359. So we seen that once we saw pre-market opened up and it did break those highs here, I knew it was coming when I seen this partial gap fill here, but then I seen this cup form right there. That led me to believe that, all right, this is finna go. It's finna pop. And lo and behold, once the market opened, it didn't even fill the gap completely. And it finally made its way up and is even broken past my price target. So as of right now, we're going to look for let's see what our highs and lows are. So here's the highs at 389. The lows right now are at 359. I need to go and turn those white. Okay, so those are going to be the highs and the lows for last week going into this week. So let's see. Going into this upcoming week, Tesla can go crazy. It can continue to carry the market. I'm not gonna lie to you. If we hold above last week highs, we could possibly dip a little bit just to come back here, but that could just be a breather before it decides to push back up. I mean, we talking about Tesla, we talking about Elon. There's no telling how high it can go. So if we're just going into next week, here's a Friday. This is a price target between Thursday and Friday for Tesla if it continues to push to the upside. It can end anywhere between this 399 to 404 or 427 to 433. That's a lot of price movement, but how long did this take? From the bottom here at 309, that was 11/15. Let me see, 11/15/2024 to 12/6. So in about a month's time span, Tesla has ran from 309 to 389. That's a big jump. That's a very big jump within the span of a month. So maybe not in the span of a week, but I could definitely see us closing somewhere around 402. I could see us stall out somewhere around here, but hold on to this 389, 390 level all the way up throughout the week and finish around 400. And that's if it decides that it wants to keep on climbing. But if we happen to retrace and we want to come back and it wants to find some more liquidity, find some more buyers to keep the price going, we'll have to watch Friday's highs and lows to see where our levels will be. Cool. So right now, going into my 30-minute time frame, we do have some gaps, and I'm using this just to kind of see, all right, where are some of these little micro gaps at? We have one here at the 358 range, and we have one down here at the 334 range. Those need to fill. You never know when they're gonna fill. So all we can do is kind of play the trend until the trend breaks and shows us something different. So right now in this 30-minute chart, what you will want to do, you'll want to consider this 389 and 390. You want to consider that resistance until it just decides that it wants to spike up again and then make a cut back down or retest these levels. You always want to look for the retest and buy in on that before actually looking for buying in early and expecting a straight vertical move, because this could be a fake out and we pull back to retest this level right here, 375 or 370. So those would be my levels that I want to look for consolidation and maybe the gradual cut move and come back up and retest the highs and break the highs. And like I said, that's where we could see the 400 range come into play at. But if we come down here, we could see the consolidation here or the flush, and it breaks through this 375 and this 370 range, and it comes all the way down to this 355 level to fill that gap. Now we have highs right here, previous days highs here at 360 and then here at 355. So normally when you're taking calls or trying to find these support levels, you're trying to see where the highs and lows are to see where they all start compressing it or stacking on top of each other. That's going to give you a solid level of support when you're seeing the price consolidate between 4 or 5 different price ranges. And when you see that, then you can say, all right, you look for things like this gap and this gap and this gap. You start looking for things to fall in your favor and let you know that, all right, these are where the buyers are gonna start stacking up at. It's starting to look very, very strong. So definitely coming down to my support level down here around 336. That's a big drop from 389 to 336, but you got to keep in mind the moves can happen very, very quickly. So me personally, going into this election, going into this pro crypto administration and all these good things, the Trump train, like I like to call it, Tesla is going to be something that you're going to want to invest in long term. Just because, you know, everybody knows and sees how close Trump and Elon is, and then we're starting to see the people that Trump's putting into place for the Trump administration. Tesla's gonna be, or Elon's gonna be one of these people, whether it's gonna be, you know, with Tesla, whether it's gonna be with SpaceX. I don't know if they're gonna IPO or not, but you know, whether it's with any company that's invested with Trump, these, you know, stocks are gonna move. So I mean, long term, I think we're definitely gonna see 400. We're definitely gonna see 430. Definitely gonna see 445. I mean, these are just projected prices, but you know, it's gonna be a nice 4 years for Tesla, in my opinion. So definitely own shares. If you don't have the money to just take, you know, yearly leaps out on Tesla and just kind of forget about it, pretty much like the buy and hold, I'll just buy shares. I mean, right now you can take $100 and just, you know, throw it on Tesla for in the long run, but I definitely think that it's gonna have a lot of potential in the future. So I'm gonna be careful around this 389 until I see that it can actually stand up and hold above here to make the moves up to this 430, which, like I said, it could be a while before we see that. But if we go back and we look at, you know, the charts back here, this was 1114, and then this was 1127. So a week apart, we seen this trend right here get tested before the move up. So even if you was to start your movements here at 389, you'll want to watch that. If it pumps and then it retests and it holds, then I would make a starter position and see if this can move up to about 430 within the next 2 weeks, probably right before the New Year's. But I definitely see this retest here before I consider going long. If not, I'll probably start to see if maybe I can find entries or decide whether it's gonna hold here around this 358 to 362 level for the move back up, or if we're gonna have to wait for this retest down here at 334. That's still an unfilled gap here. Really, Tesla has gaps all the way down to this 244 and 257, but we don't know. We have no idea when those gaps are gonna get filled anytime soon. So I think Tesla has a lot of room to run. I think you have the money, you should definitely invest in Tesla this upcoming 4 years, because the price movement for this, you know, is gonna be great. So I don't know. The people in the Discord gonna know. People on After Hours, I'll let y'all know too. It's just there, my Discord, I post charts all throughout the day, so that's kind of like my journal, along with, you know, where I get the signals at. Most of the things that I get from it personally, other than, you know, being my members and everything, it helps me keep track of the charts, because when you look at about 30 of them throughout the day, it definitely is easy to forget some of these. So that's on my my yearly watch list is Tesla. Another one that I'm looking at is Oklo. This one was kind of hot back a little while ago before it did the reverse split and increased in price. And as you can see, it was moving all the way up to about $28. But you know, I think we finna get ready to squeeze a little bit more in these upcoming weeks. Probably around the end of the month, but right now it's kind of an early time that you can hop into Oklo. I did choose some contracts already and I posted it, but I haven't taken any entries. Let's see. Okay, so I did post. Let me see. These are Nvidias. Okay, so Oklo. I was looking at the $30 cost for Oklo, and the $30 cost is just above the highs here at $28. So, only thing about the price action right now on Oklo is this seller's area right here. So as you can see, once it hit the gap down, we had a brief moment here to where it pushed and squeezed above this seller zone at 23.66, and it tried to make its move and push back up toward that $28 range, but all it really did was make a lower high, and it flushed off. And once it got back within this seller's area here, you know, it kind of struggled from here to here, back up to the top, and then it finally flushed below it to where we finding our second level of support here. So going into these upcoming weeks, I say you go long, and I say $30 is attainable once this $28 level gets retested and it gets broken. Once those highs get broken, you definitely gonna want to watch it when it breaks these highs over here at 26, these highs at 24, and that's it. You'll watch for the build above 24, 26, 28, and that should give us the gateway to that $30 range. I think that this upcoming week, I'm definitely gonna watch for this break here in this seller zone. If we can get a re-entry back down here in this range, right there, if we can get a feel on calls around this $20 area, I would go for 1, 2, 3, 4. If I'm going 30 strike prices, if you're going with a limited income or a limited portfolio, I would go about 3 or 4 contracts if we can get a fill down here. Reason because I would take one, their January calls, I believe, that I posted. Yeah, they are January 17 calls, and they're at right now they're at $130 a piece. So I would take about 4 calls, and I would ride it up. I would trim one here, and trim one here, and let that 4th one ride. Reason being, every time I trim one, if we do happen to dip, I can recycle that money. And I'm gonna show everybody how to do this. If we do get this, like I said, I'm gonna take 4 of them. I might take a little bit more, but I know I'm gonna take at least 4 just to ride up and trim on the way up, since they are January calls, and see if we get this squeeze up to the upside. So if they're at $130 now and the price is at 21, we probably can see if the delta looks like it's at $28. So if it's at $28, if we see a move from 21 down to 20, you probably can see a $28 drop in premiums. So that'll put it right at about $100 a contract. And you can take your entries there and you can ride them up. You can trim at 20, 25, 30% profits. Or what you can do, like I said, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to hold these and I'm just going to trim off as they hit targets. Even though it's a little volatile, here we are. This kind of head over here, that could become a bottom over here as the push back up. The next head would be kind of around here. So once we make that moon up to the upside, I would trim off right here and look for this next arc around there. So in all, this would be one area that you'll watch for. If you're just looking, like, you have to be like me and be visual. This would be another area that you'll watch for. And then the final area that you'll need it to break, it'd be kind of up in there. So I'm not big on trading this stock. I'm still kind of new to it. But just watching to see how volatile it is, it looks like it makes sharp moves up and sharp moves down also. So it's definitely possible to see this climb once it squeezes out the bears up here above 23.72 to make its way up to this $30 range. So that's on my watch list for this upcoming week. This is probably like we're going into 12-12. So this is probably going to be maybe a 2 to 3 week play, just because you have to deal with supply over here. That could give it, let's see, that's Thursday. This is Thursday. This is Friday. Part of Monday. This is Monday. This is Wednesday. Okay, and then this is Wednesday. So yeah, this would definitely be probably about a 2.5 week play to the upside. Just depending on how it fell. You can look for that choppiness coming over here to play out maybe towards the end of the month. Another stock that I got on my watch list is CRM. I think it's been pumping due to the earnings. Even though the earnings were kind of off. Yeah. But this is what I would be watching after this pop to the upside. And I don't even have this one. I thought I had it charted already, but I guess I don't. So y'all will watch me chart this real quick. So first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to scale it from the 3 month and kind of see where it's headed. As you can see, we're already way ahead of, highs. We've broken those here at 320. Just broke another one. That's Friday 11/20/24. So we just broke another one at 350, 352. And then if we scaling down to the weekly, you've seen 1, 2, 3, and then this previous week we broke out making highs. So I'm gonna start charting from the weekly chart. So fun fact, I know my brain works a little different. Sometimes I like to chart a stock upside down. It just helps me see it from a different perspective. Sometimes your brain just sees stuff in a different fashion. I tried it one day and it just helped me see patterns a little different. So if I ever need a different look at a chart sometimes, I just invert the scale and turn the chart upside down, and it just shows me it might look like a bearish stock, but you can see it from that perspective and see, all right, if this stock looks super bearish upside down, then I know it's super bullish if I flip it back around to the upside. And so I'll chart it like this every once in a while. So, looking at CRM, it definitely has some spark to its drive to the upside. And I'm just looking for the best level of support if we was to have retracement levels. So, I mean, you can find a million trend lines and you'll never know which one's exactly the right one. But once you do it enough, you kind of know which ones really matter and which ones you don't even really have to bother drawing anymore. But as I scale in deeper and deeper to get more detailed, then I eventually start seeing which one of these, really matter, and then which ones are just way too vertical for me to be attempting to chart. And the reason why I do it on the weekly is because I like to trade off the daily time frame. Well, I like to read the market from the daily time frame, if that makes sense. And that gives me the pitch I need for that week. And as you can see, for the past 9/24, so from September all the way up to December, this stock has been straight bullish, just absolute monster. All right, so once I turn it back around after I pretty much found everything that I needed to find, boom, here's my bigger picture. So now that I have, my chart mapped out and I'm kind of seeing where the support, where the resistance is, how high it's been running, where we're taking out highs and lows, now I can start scaling into my daily time frame, and I can really start putting my play together to see the bigger picture. So as soon as I go to the daily, I start seeing all these gaps, and some are going to be filled right now, some have the possibility to be filled. The only thing that makes me nervous is this gap to the downside. The only thing is sometimes they don't fill, and if it doesn't fill, then the stocks continue to move, and then it just becomes a level that's not gonna get filled for maybe until the next earnings. These don't get filled sometime until it has actual bad earnings, and then the stock tanks, and then it turns around and it actually drags itself down for a quarter. Let's see, here's our vertical move here. Here we'll find highs and lows. All right, so once we find them highs and lows, that lets me know what I'm watching for. I'm gonna make this one big box between there, and pretty much what that's gonna show me right there is what that's gonna show me is pretty much this is the highs before it gapped up with this earnings. So it dropped down right here, it bounced, and then once that earnings call came up, it pushed all the way up to 355. So now that I have my highs and lows from prior to the gap up, I'll start scaling down, and I just been using my 30-minute charts lately, just to get the grand scheme of consolidations or gap fills. So just watching this, I'm gonna watch for a break below 356. If it decides that, hey, we're gonna go ahead and fill this move to the downside, get buyers to step in, kind of like we watched with MSTR after crypto had that big run up. You seen it move all the way up to like 441, and then you seen it sell off, and now I think the price is back at about 383. So what we want to do is you want to look for the breakout above 369. And if we do that, one of the indicators I like using are standard deviation. So right now you have a top of 370, and that's my +3. +3 means that it's extremely high. It's overvalued. Normally you want to catch it around like the 0, or if it drops below to like -1 to -2, -3, then that lets you know the price action is oversold, kind of like a RSI. And then up here at the +3, then you know that the price action is running a little hot or overbought like the RSI. But these prices, these deviations, they fluctuate daily, so you can't take it concrete 100%. So what we're gonna watch for on CRM, just because it gapped up after these earnings and it's been holding up pretty well, I am gonna look for a break above this 369 level, and I'm not gonna hold long. What I'm gonna do is I'll just take a percentage profits, because once stocks like to make new 52-week highs, it'll run for the day, and then the prices will start coming back down just to find liquidity and see if those prices that are real at that high before it decide to push its way back down to the downside. So I will look for a breakout. I'll probably take like a 20-25% profit once it breaks, just because the way that it moves. If I'm checking the contracts real quick for CRM, and I'm checking them on my phone right now on Webull. If I'm looking at next week's, it don't have the options chain doesn't have very high volume, but they have very high open interest. So right now the 370s have 3,300 open interest and 418 the volume, and right now the cost is about $400. The next one is 380, and it has 3,600 of open interest, and then you have the 400s that have 3,700 of open interest. So you got 380, 370, and 400 that has a ton of open interest. And open interest always kind of gives you an idea of levels. So you have 380, and then of course the 370, and then you have 400. And what I'm doing, I'm lining these out by time stamps down here, just to kind of give me an idea of if the price was to consolidate and move, this would just be the trajectory that I would look at. This is kind of a reasonable trajectory to the upside. That gives it an opportunity to move, consolidate, make a move here, bounce, and then push back up. Charts are just visual. So if you kind of know the nature of it, then you can watch and see how it moves. And if we starts to dip, you can buy contracts like 370s or even these 380s at cheaper prices right here. You can watch for the bounce at 356. Now, if we break that 356 level, Then you see what is the 0, and then you see what a -1 is as far as the standard deviations. So if we break this 356 level, then of course we don't really have any highs and lows between this 356 and then 349. So you'll definitely watch for a move down to here. And then yeah, you'll watch for a move down to here, and then you'll start looking at these prior level of support, you know, there and there. And that'll just kind of map it out for you to let you know what areas I'll be watching for or looking for if the prices happen to dip. This would be a complete gap fill down here around this 332 to 327 level. And then this is where I would want to load back up definitely to the 370s. Just because I know there's a ton of open entries at that one, and then it's coming in at a discount too. Because you're getting a buyer's fill. This is green. So that means the price jumped because of something good that the stock heard. I mean that the companies like or people like, institutions bought, and they push the price up here. So just about like we always see, you will see the price action fall within this green gap, gets bought up. In this case, it gapped up after it got bought, and then it came back down and it did the same thing. Institutions pushed they pushed the price down going into earnings. It filled, got bought. You see the crazy wick back up to the upside. It got bought, consolidated, and the price moved back up after earnings. So we'll watch for the same thing. If it falls, that'll be a blessing for us. We'll be able to get in at these 370s, probably even go out longer than 1220. We can go out probably all the way out to maybe January 1st and find some decent open interest on that. And then you'll just ride it out. You can ride this back up from the 326 to 328 range back up to at least 339 and watch it go. Because we have two levels of support right here. Here's one, and then here's the second that lines up with the 318.50, the -2 deviation. And I don't think we found one. I think both of these, if both of these break, that'll just be a break of structure, major structure, and then we can look for, you know, something to form around here somewhere. But right now, it's too much money in this level between this current 360 and this 330 range. I'm gonna be watching for this move back up, or at least if it dips, I'll be looking for some support back around here, and look for some long dated swings on this company, because it has been holding up fairly well over the past few months. And this would be something that I think will be nicely carried over into the rest of the year. So that one, and of course we got to check on my favorite stock, Nvidia. All right, so I was already kind of charting and working on Nvidia, and what I end up coming up with is this it's kind of like a diamond pattern. And patterns are kind of my thing because it helps me read the charts better too. So if you don't know what the diamond pattern is, I don't know if that's the correct name for it. Let's see, trading. But I'll show you what it looks like. So it's a couple of different ones, a diamond bottom and a diamond top. Let's see which one we were looking at here. So we're kind of looking at a diamond top, and it's not It's not complete yet. You know, it very well could get bought around this 135 range and make a move back up. But it's not a pretty pattern. But I was kind of looking at like a diamond top right now, just because that was a breakaway gap. And this is the one that, you know, I was kind of paying attention to here. You know, you got a test here, and then a retest here before it finally came here and broke down to the downside. And if we look at Nvidia, we have a test up here, a retest. Well, not really right there, but it's close. You have this one that spiked up and came back down. I think that was after earnings. Here we are right here, and we have an unfilled gap here, and we have an unfilled gap here. So if we go back and look at this, you see how that dropped. It came sideways. It retested the top of that trend before it made another move down. That's kind of what I'm looking for on here too. We could see a move back down. We could see a sideways move, and depending on what the market's doing, depending on the sentiment of the market, we could see Nvidia make that move down to fill this gap at 119. When? I'm not sure. That could be a long way, which makes me, that's why I think that we might not see it. But I always just take a look at what my eyes show me, and I go from there to see what's possible. Now on the other side of things, this pattern's been tested once, twice, and then 3 times here. And then this one right here is kind of like a, this one's kind of going down. Yeah, so it'll form a triangle kind of going like that. But that'll be a third test somewhere up in here. If this patterns get broken and the structure breaks, you still kind of have a descending trend here for it to bounce off of and recover. But if we can hold this trend right here around this 133 range, and if we do fall, then we can watch for this consolidation move here before making the move back down to fill this gap. And it's kind of volatile around this area. You see a straight flush here, and then you see another gap down in the flush here. So if we get back in this area, we could see another panic sell or flush out here down to here, and that's where I have supported. But then if it breaks here, then I have another buy level down here at 132, and that'll be where we saw prices. This is 1127, and then this is 1031. So what, this was like right before Thanksgiving. We saw that, and then we watched the prices climb back up after it gapped down, and then gap above those to squeeze out those bears. And then we could see the same thing. You know, it pushed back down in price. Once this gets taken out, we could see it, you know, shake out some buyers here and try to go down long. But eventually we should see the move back up into here, where this would be resistance being tested over on this level before seeing this trend right here gets taken out. So that's kind of what we're watching for on Nvidia to start pushing to the long side. We want to see this trend right here gets taken out and get pushed to the upside before we see the breakout prices up here around this 155 area, possibly you know, 160. So just want to watch for another retest of 132, and then you'll want to watch for the breakout above. I'm gonna watch for I want the breakout to be above 146, because we just seen a lot of consolidated activity around this area. So I wouldn't want to just go long on this until we see this breakout above 140, 149. Because even if we get up here, we could come down and see retests of lows a 135 before, you know, trying it again. Stock market iffy. You gotta make sure that you have some tricks of confirmation set up, so that way, when you do see it break out above this 149 level, then you know, all right, I'm looking for this wick up here where sellers stepped in immediately. Now they're gonna try to retest it because they went down here and grabbed some more liquidity in order to get some more movement and get a pushback to the upside. So we're gonna have a video on the watch next week for that. I like it, honestly, I do. It just hasn't been the same after the split. Most stocks aren't the same after the split, so we just have to see if it's finally gonna break out or if it's gonna continue to consolidate like it has been. And I got two more that I'm gonna look at with y'all. One is Hood. Somebody brought to the attention that Hood had this I guess an event going on or whatnot. Looks like I already got this one marked out with the GAN fan already. And Hood's been on a tear. It's been on a big move to the upside with no regards to coming down. So as of right now, we seen that move start above $28, and from there it's just absolutely moving. But you see the deviations. You see how quickly it can go up, it can go down too. So the fact that $30 is still on the radar lets you know, or lets me know, that's still an attainable price. Just because of how volatile it's been moving. But let's dig a little bit deeper into what we're looking at. So right now I have support up here. Well, not support, I have resistance up here around 45 and 48. Now keep in mind in this color right here, blue on a GAN fan normally is it's an unnatural level. It's really a prime level, if you would. I'm gonna take y'all back to Tesla where we looked at earlier. You see what color Tesla's heading into? It's heading into blue up here. And that shade of blue that Palantir is on, I mean not Palantir, Hood is on right now, here's that level for Tesla. Not saying that it's gonna move that way, but I'm just showing you that unnatural movements are possible if the price action wants to move. But going back to Hood, I have resistance right here at 45. And then I have my next level up here at 48, 49, 50-ish. So my next resistance levels going into this upcoming week, one's gonna be at 46, 45. Another one to be up here around 50. It's definitely gonna need a catalyst to push like that, or it's gonna have to have a leading catalyst pushing up to that. But right now, I'll be watching for the breakout above the highs here at 42.84. Let me take this off. Okay. So I'll be watching for the breakout above 42.84. And once we take out those highs, then we can look for some movement pushing up. So right now I'm going to find some of the daily highs and lows to start putting together a better picture for where to enter and where to exit. Because as you can see right now, if we was to come down, my support would be at this 37 to 36 range leading up to this support level right here. So if we're gonna mark it off to get a better visual, I might not do the full week, but I'll definitely do the last couple of days to see where we can get some support lined up at. And I'll do this last one right here. So, alright, so right now it can get a little choppy if it does decide to dip. But once you zoom in and you take some of the price levels that we have marked out, we can find some consolidated areas that could be bought. So one way I look at it when I'm doing this, I'm trying to see which area of white is most concentrated. And right now it's gonna be between this 39 area and this 38 area. So that's gonna be the levels that I'm gonna kind of pay attention to. I got this 39.75 level take mark, and I got this 37 to 36. This still hasn't been filled down here, so it's definitely a possibility that it gets filled pretty soon. But like I said, if it does fall, another line up with my support levels right here around like 35 to 36. So I would look to go long if prices enter down here. If prices break out above this 42 range, then that's when I'll look for prices start pushing this 45 level, and that's why I look for exhaustion at before making another higher level. I think hood's pretty liquid as far as the contracts go. I think you pretty much can go to any month, any expiration dates within a range, and it's gonna be pretty liquid. So finding a contract with a solid bid ask spread shouldn't be too hard. I would kind of go for I'll probably go for something more in the money or more out the money. I wouldn't go for anything in between here. Either I'm going for 46 or I'm gonna go 42. Nothing in between. And it should give you a decent return, because if it doesn't, or if it decides to drop back down once it breaks, if it decides to try to fake out, you could see anything between this 41 to 40 level be retested to see if it can bounce off of previous days highs to make the move back up. Sometimes it just has to break above highs, grab some liquidity, push back up, and make the next move up. We seen it with Palantir last week. So we seen like a little mini head and shoulders before it flushed back down, and then it just decided to take right back off in the other direction. But I got $46, and then I have $49.50 to $50 on my price target for hood going into this upcoming week. It still looks bullish. The market's gonna have to do a big turnaround to start building momentum in the opposite direction. I haven't looked to check and see what type of events we have going into possibly pre-market data or earnings. I have to check that. But we do have core CPI Wednesday, and then we have core PPI Thursday. So those probably be the two only days. Well, I say that, but we possibly could consolidate leading up to that data, or the market can go ahead and make its move before that, and once the data gets released, then that could decide to push it in the opposite direction. But I definitely have 46, and I definitely have 50, 49 to 50 on my price targets for the upside on hood going into these upcoming weeks. My very last ticker that I'm watching is TWLO. I haven't charted this one either, so you guys get to tap in and watch me chart this one. As you can see, it has very, very large upside going long. Very large upside. I'm not sure what the company does. I'll have to look deeper into it. But as I was just going through different stocks over the weekend, this was something that caught my eye to the long side. So let's see when this was 2020, 2020 to 2021. I have been looking for stocks that has gone down a lot since the Trump administration, going into the Biden administration. So it looks like companies like this, if you go look at Square, if you go look at PayPal, some of them companies that didn't have a good run during the Biden administration, you could see some of these stocks start coming back to life since Trump's back in office. And when Trump was there, they had such a good year. You can expect those out the same stocks over the next 4 years. And this is what I've been preaching to the Discord, like, research stocks to see what was really going during that time. You should be able to find money and have a successful trading successful trading career over the next couple of years, and that'll lead you to go ahead and make money and know where the money is. So if we're watching TWLO, I'm gonna chart it the same way. And it just had an absolute meltdown over the past couple of years. Wow. So what we'll do is we'll go to the weekly. I'm gonna invert it, and I'm gonna look to find. It looks like we finna get ready to melt back up to the upside. So hey, if you're on here, if you're watching, then I'm showing you an actual gem in the making right here on TWLO. You literally found the bottom, and here's a big head. I mean, it could be a shoulder, but I see a melt up in the long run for this actual stock. So just like PayPal, just like Square, this is one that I've added to my watch list, and this one we're gonna be playing for the upcoming months. Probably look to get at some decent leaps when the opportunity presents itself, but I'm loving this chart on this one. As you can see, it's still early. It's still early to get into this at the bottom, at its bottom levels. Just seeing how I don't have a lot of trend lines to find on here. It's been having just straight vertical movements. So, all right. That's about the best that I'll take as far as trend lines on here now. All right, so let's flip it back upright and let's see what we got. So you have a very nice chart. Very nice chart. Look at this cup as it comes around, forms a bottom, has a rising trend. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start seeing a melt up. Look how it melted up here, and then look how it melted back down right here. We're going to want to watch this going into like 2025. This is something that you're definitely going to want to watch. If we was just to go and find a resistance level, which I really don't like to pay attention to those too frequently, just because Stocks are made to go up. So yeah, this can help if you're going, options or something like that. You'll look for the resistance, but I'm looking for long term. So, all right, all right. So as you can see, there are a lot of gaps, but as you can see, it also has a lot of upside room right now to 126, 127. So if I go and I add my deviations in just to kind of paint a better picture, it's at the top. It's above the +3, but that'll repaint itself. One thing about indicators on TradingView, they do repaint themselves, and they adjust based off the price action that it moves. Fun fact, these deviations, they kind of show you the price action between the daily prices of the stock. So if you see it move from 109 to 112, that lets you know that the stock probably moves $2.50 to $3 a day, from 106 to 109, from 103 to 106. So that lets you know the price action, when it could be forming the bottom, when it could be forming the top. So if we looking at this and we're trying to find new daily highs and daily lows, you'll set it up to be somewhere like that, and that's just to watch. Once we start breaking lows like this, then I'll go to the chart and I'll start lining up different stuff to kind of see where things are gonna line up. But right now, scanning in to see, all right, where are the gaps at? What should I be watching for? Where's my breakout levels? How does the price react in prior weeks to it climbing? Because it's going to show you what it's going to do. You see it's going to climb right here, lulls you to sleep, finds support, pops back up. It did the same thing right here. And once it has that 1, 2, 3 day of drops, 1, 2, 3, this one had a weekend of dropping before it made back up. So once you get about 3 days of it dropping, 3 to 5 days of it dropping, then you can expect for that move to be made back up just based off historical data. As I said, once you study the charts long enough, then you will be able to see the patterns and behaviors of how the stock moves if it decides that it wants to drop, and when you can expect for it to move back up. So right now that it's at a +3, that lets me know, hey, watch for the possible drop, and I'll be looking for the fill down here, and possibly you can see it doesn't really have a rising trend right now that I like. And it's just from the 30, but you could see something maybe right there, and up here. But I would just wait for something more solid to form that I can see visually to let me know where I should get in at. Now, if it breaks these highs, it's not real much that you can go off of, but wait for the retest back down here to 113. So watch for the spike, watch for the pull up to maybe about 117. If it moves like $3 ranges from 113, you watch for another kind of $3 move up to about 116, then a retest on 113. So you're using the deviations that you already see to kind of predict the deviations going to the upside too. And that lets you know the price action and what to watch for. If you know if it's up here at 116, 117, the price action is too high to start buying in. You want to wait for it to come back down and retest older levels So one at 113, and then if it pulls back, another one at 111. That lets you know, all right, I'll start buying in. I'll be looking for this gap to get filled. Could see a spike in the pump. You could see a low fall before it decides to finally make a cut back up and run back to the higher levels. So watch for levels in this 117, 116 range. If it decides to pump back to the upside, and then wait for the retest back down to 113.50 to make the move back up to 116, 117 and possibly push higher. Because what'll happen if the deviations are met in the day, to say it hits this, it retest, and it push back up, that's their price action for that day. The next day could present another $3 move to the upside, and you'll see 117, you'll see 118, 119, 120. So you'll watch the climb just based off of these deviations as it continues to push back up to the upside. So you kind of see the movements before it happens. Even if it dips, it comes down, you still know that the price targets are gonna stay the same as it climbs up to this resistance right here around 124, 123. So these are just a couple of stocks that I've been watching, family. If you are in the Discord, a lot of these charts you're gonna see me post in the charts, stock charts. Some of these probably would be in the swing plays, but a lot of these that I look over going into, I'm gonna keep posting them. Like, we watching, MSTR and a couple of other ones. Seen Dollar Tree prior to earnings, ASTS as it consolidates, KSS. So I try to look over these stocks and I post them for everybody to be able to go back and look at them. If they ever need to form their own due diligence, and then if they just see something that they need, that they got questions to or want to ask about, you can refer back to it, and I can refer back to it. Like I said, it's kind of like a trading journal. So that's what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna watch for the upcoming week. I hope everybody got a little bit of insight on what I'm watching this week, and it helps with anything that you may have lined up for this upcoming week. And if it works, I hope everybody prints. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. I'll see y'all in the AM. If you're on after hours, salute. Catch you with the pre-market analysis. Discord, of course. Tap in. Patreon, I'm tapping in. If you got some helpful information, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're not, you know what's up. Hit the like button. Help your boy out. Contribute to the algorithm. Let's get this stuff out here. But I'll let y'all in the morning. Peace.